So we're here at Voxxed Thessaloniki 2017, and I'm joined by Sander Hoogendoorn.
Well, in English that would be the right pronunciation.
Introduce yourself in Dutch for me.
In Dutch it would be Sander Hoogendoorn, but nobody can pronounce that anyway.
So thanks very much for joining us today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You did the opening keynote this morning,
Yep.
which was entitled "It's a Small World After All." So I think the premise of that was, to a large extent, that things are getting so fast now that as they get faster within the software development space, actually they have to become smaller as well. Is that
Yep.
right?
Sure.
So tell us more about it.
Yeah, well, it's about that. So everything in the world's become faster because of the technology, right? The technology is changing so fast, and we now can do things using cloud stuff that we weren't able to do before, or processes that used to take a long time. Now you can run in minutes, scaling up your hardware to a large extent. So we can do different things now, and the pace at which the world is changing due to technology is not a linear pace, it's increasing exponential. So that means we, as the software world, we actually caused this. And we also now need to take care of that, because we need to be able to be faster and faster in delivering stuff. Because we cannot allow it, we cannot afford anymore to have a single release every year, or every 3 months for that matter, because your competitors will go faster. That means they will be able to innovate faster than you will be. So you need to go faster as well, meaning smaller teams, shorter cycles, daily cycles, continuous delivery, meaning build your code into very small pieces of code, very small chunks like microservices or even serverless computing, to allow you to go faster in doing this.
Yeah, and I guess some of the companies that have got these big old monolith systems, they've got to change now, otherwise they'll die.
They have to. They have to. Yeah, they have to. One of the companies I now work for is a company that has a system built in COBOL. It actually compiles to Java every night, which is actually, the fact that they can do that is actually pretty cool. But they release every 3 months, and they still write it in COBOL, meaning that the developers will eventually retire between now and 5 years, and that means they will have to change the code base and move faster, because the clients want them to innovate faster. And you cannot do that if you release once every 3 months in a COBOL system, right? It's like just impossible.
So as we move to smaller formats then, I mean, are there drawbacks that you see? What are the potential pain points for developers?
Sure, there are, because if you build software faster, so previously we used to build software, and then if we released it once every 3 months and it didn't work, we just did a rollback and went back to the previous version, right? That is not possible anymore. Everything you do is in the eye of your users. Because if I write some code today, I put it into production in 5 minutes, we can literally do that, by the way. That also means that our users will start complaining in 5 minutes, right? So if you make a mistake, you have to repair it immediately. And it also needs you to be in a team where all the different skills are present, like the operations people, like the testers, like the analysts and the developers in different languages, UI people. All those disciplines need to be there to be able to deliver fast. Because you cannot have that your operations guy is on the next floor, and if you need something, he needs to be there, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
Those are all preconditions to be able to do this. And that you have to have the technology, you have to move towards think in small pieces. Like, don't design a big domain, but design small domains and build components on top of those. Or even just write simple functions that exist in somewhere in Azure or on AWS, and be able to put that together is a hard thing as well. Because you have to integrate everything, right? If you have 100 small pieces and one of them goes through the pipeline and your whole landscape changes, you need to test everything.
Yeah.
So, for instance, for testers, this is becoming really different. Testers are not longer the guys who have these huge Excel spreadsheets and they tick off a box and then fill in the field, tick off the next box. They are becoming programmers. Guys on my team, there's like 3 to 4 testers on my team. They have learned to write Java over the last couple of months. They're now learning how to write Cucumber and TypeScript and be able to automate all of their tests. And those are actually the disciplines are changing because of this. a bunch of the developers on my team actually know how to operate AWS. They know how to deal with Jenkins and all this stuff, and so they're getting broader and broader. That makes it more difficult for people to act in those teams.
Culturally, everything's changed over the last few years, driven by this speed of innovation. I know you're in the middle of writing a book on the continuous culture.
Yeah, true. I'm writing that together with my girlfriend Kim, and she's head of IT at the company I work for. And we see that, we've seen it with our previous company as well, where we work together as well, is that if you start doing this, if you start to go faster and faster, and if you allow things to change, that has a big effect on culture. For instance, you have to have management teams that allow the teams to be more autonomous and make more decisions themselves instead of saying, no, the team is too big, we have to split it, as one of the CEOs recently said that I work for. So you have to allow the team itself to decide on whether it thinks it's too big. Or you have to change your HR as well, right? The traditional behavior of HR is going to change a lot, because of the fact that you cannot plan ahead. They're used to planning ahead like 2 years or 1 year, or you have to have an annual plan for how your personal development will be. But if stuff in there changes after 2 months, so that will change as well, and the way you act as a company, right? More and more companies, although they don't realize it, are technology companies. Yeah. Like a bank is no longer they do something with money, but basically they're an IT company, right?
Well, they have to be now.
They have to be. And that goes for a lot of organizations and companies. Like if you're a retailer, for instance, retailers, basically they're the competition from online web stores is so big that traditional retailers have a very hard time keeping up, and they need to move to online retailing as well. So everything is going to change, and everything's already changing, and the culture in those companies will change to be much more of an IT company, meaning you have to be developer friendly. Let's call it developer friendly, right? And have the people gain knowledge and learn continuously. So they have to go to conferences like these, and they have to speak in public, and they have to have training courses all the time, because it changes so fast.
So I'm looking forward to having a read of your book when it comes out. When might we see it?
That is a very good question. I'm first trying to finish the book on microservices, which I'm also writing. I'm halfway through that, and we're still puzzling about the table of contents for the book on the continuous culture, because we're writing it. It's a joint venture, right? And so we have to set up the table of contents first. That is basically when we can start writing pieces of it, and after that it will go really fast, I guess. But setting up the table of contents is the hard part, actually.
Great. So anybody at home watching the interview, they can also watch your keynote from this morning on YouTube. So that'd be great. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.